Yeah, Shardlake. It's based on this series of books of the same name. It's like a Tudor cop show, murder mystery detective set in a monastery.
Why, in this house of God, do I smell secrets and fear?
We have no secrets. And with respect, Master Shardlake, it is of you and Lord Cromwell we are afraid.
Whilst watching it, I couldn't help but feel like Shardlake might actually fit in with something like Game of Thrones, or possibly could be put in a completely different world like Manhunt and made to sort of certain characters. How do you think he would fare in those universes? Do you think he'd live to see another day?
He'd end up being king, wouldn't he?
I think he'd probably, yeah.
He'd raise up the ranks.
He'd be all right. Yeah.
I think he would, yeah. He'd be right. I think he's done pretty well in the Tudor period's pretty brutal. And the Game of Thrones world is super brutal.
You haven't watched Manhunt yet, so...
Yeah, I haven't seen Manhunt.
So you don't know what that's like yet?
Yeah, but I assume he'd be fine.
It would be good.
They had guns then, didn't they? So as long as he had a gun, he'd be all right. He'd be following you around.
Shardlake says that he is driven by truth and justice.
Mm.
Do you feel, having played him, that is a very good description of his character?
So yeah, I think Shardlake is, and it's definitely, we take him at his word when he says that. I think he's got that innate sense of justice within him after kind of the life he's lived. And I guess what's interesting is coming up against some of the challenges that poses, when it might not always be the easy thing to do, to go for truth and find the truth, because it can be difficult and hidden. So yeah, I'd say that's definitely one of his big motivators. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yes, with Cromwell, he's hungry for power. He comes from very kind of basic, basic working class background, really. So his rise to power is phenomenal when you think about that. And he's out to get what he believes in. He's outraged by the excesses of the Catholic Church. He's very loyal to Henry VIII and facilitates the marriage with Anne Boleyn and the split with Rome. So, he's a mischievous, he's corrupt, he's very driven, and has great self-belief. And
And then what's driving Jack?
What's driving Jack? Survival. He sort of grew up on the streets and was then taken in by Cromwell, and owes everything to him. Mm-hmm. So he's his sort of his master in a way. Jack sort of is like his ward, and he's having to sort of appease him at every turn, because he knows that he could take the power away from him whenever. So Cromwell is his god, and he needs to sort of appease him, which is why he goes on this mission with Shardlake, and he's just driven by pure survival. But I think he's got a big heart, as you'll see when you watch the show. He's very reactionary. He wears his heart in his sleeve. He's very sort of whatever takes him in that moment. He's hot-headed, quick to a sword, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And now, for you, taking on the character of Shardlake, what was that like, getting to interact with the book and then bring yourself to it?
Well, yeah, I think, as Sean says, understanding the character of who that is fundamentally, and then I guess whoever plays this character brings whatever they bring to it. So it was figuring out what my Shardlake would be like. What is it that I can relate to with him? What chimes with me with that, and how do I? I think it's always good to find as many things you can that you relate to with a character, even if you don't like a character. But what is it that I have in common? Figuring that out and figuring out what I didn't have in common, what I would want to see for that. I wanted this Shardlake on screen to be maybe a bit more of a physical presence, a bit stronger and less kind of afraid.
It was him.
The guilty man must be identified and evidence listed. I am not above the laws of England, Matthew.
Well, no, my lord. As no man should be.
You will not fail me, neither of you.
All three of you have experience of playing real-life historical characters that are really well known, and also playing characters that are very well known from book series. And I was wondering, what do you find has more pressure attached to it? Playing someone that existed in real life or someone that people really know from the pages of a novel?
I don't think there's much difference, really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say. I think with a fictional character, you can obviously bring more of yourself to the part, or you can take, you can discover other aspects of the character. But I think some people are overawed when they're playing real historical figures, which I don't think they need to be. Because that sets a general tone that they're separate from an audience, and that they're somehow more untouchable. So, I think so long as you bring a humanity to a historical role, and as well as a fictional role, but especially a historical role, then an audience can relate to you, and to these guys, it's more believable. Don't feel any pressure.
Completely agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
that's that. Yeah.